Why, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Anime Club, I think.
I hope you know, because otherwise...
I don't know, I find myself lost, and I wake up and I'm like, is this real?
Are we in a dream?
Am I in the Matrix?
My God, hope we aren't.
If we are, take the blue pill.
We are back with Demon Slayer spoiler and story thoughts thingy mo bobber. Let's see, so...
I want to talk about the arc structure of this submission.
Okay.
Right? So, basically, there's really only two arcs that we get.
Yes.
We have the Spider Mountain, and then we have training at the end.
Yep.
Because of that, training's only like 3 episodes at the end. So Spider Mountain is like 9 or 10 episodes. It is objectively a long arc for any shonen that runs only like 26 episodes in a season. Like, you wouldn't expect more than like 4 to 5 in an arc, typically, maybe 6, just because usually the arcs are a little more balanced. Normally you wouldn't see a 9-episode arc until you get into something like Boku no Hero that's much longer, or like Naruto or something.
Well, in theory, this is, even though, so we know the manga's shorter than a lot of other shonen, even by modern shonen standards.
Like, the manga's
But in
already...
theory, when this came out, this is coming out at around the same pacing as a Boku no Hero season, because Boku no Hero releases once a year, about 24 episodes a year.
Yeah.
True, but I do genuinely think that Spider Mountain could have been a little shorter.
Yeah.
I think it dallied a little bit where it didn't need to. Also, I don't feel like I got enough of the spider demons, which from an arachnophobic is a strong statement to make.
That is a strong
But
statement coming from
I feel like I got too much introspection on behalf of our Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, and not enough interaction with the demons to build the kind of emotional feelings they wanted us to build, because they very clearly wanted us to...
The problem is you don't know their dynamic until all but like one of them is dead.
Yeah, like they very clearly wanted us to like look at the dynamic between these spider demons and go, oh, like they're not all evil, like obviously they're all demons and they have to be killed, but they're not all evil, and make a point. But we see them all so standalone as they get killed, and like they each have their own thoughts, but nothing feels like it connects till the very end, and then that connection at the very end feels just a little bit flimsy because of it, and there's just so much introspection from the 3 mains. And I don't hate introspection, it just felt like a lot comparatively.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Also, Zenitsu makes me want to shoot myself, and Inosuke is not much better. And quite frankly, Tanjiro is just kind of boring now. He hasn't actually done anything interesting since we finished the arc at the end of episodes 1 through 14.
What do you mean by something interesting?
I'm
curious about that.
It feels like in the Spider Mountain, right? I feel like I did not get a fulfilling addition to his character, because Spider Mountain, right, it just felt like we had another arc where he found the humanity in it. It feels like we just got another arc where he finds the humanity in some demons and like improves upon his own skills by like he's like, oh, I can't cut through this demon so easily, let me just perfect another breathing technique or something. And, oh, look, they're all human and personable like every other demon that I've dealt with so far and killed. I feel like we didn't get something novel out of them.
I get where your complaints are coming from now, actually. So let's because here's the thing right now with Tanjiro, obviously, because we've already got his motivation and like his training arc. So all of his kind of character progression has been sort of front-loaded. So we already have his motivation and reasoning, and then so his character progression, I think, going forward is going to be a lot more gradual. It's not going to be as up in front and stuff like that. So it's going to be like smaller things. Yeah, sure, he's not going to get as like strong. He's not going to have maybe a big epiphany until closer towards the climax of the series, but he's going to steadily grow as a demon slayer.
See, and I think for me, the only issue I have with this, like, is that I know that this show isn't going to be super long. because the manga isn't super long. Like,
The manga ended, honestly, by the time we got done with the first season.
Unfortunately, this is not like Boku no Hero, where you can afford slower character development over a longer period of time. Like, this is going to be a shorter show, right? So it just felt like they were taking a little bit too much time where they could have maybe put it towards something else.
I mean, I could tell you what the big Tanjiro development of this arc was.
Wait, were you... Sorry, he's had his hand up since I started speaking.
Yeah, sorry. I actually do agree with Segment on this. Tanjiro just feels plain and boring because it's been 2 years' time in their time, and he still sort of seems like the same ass character with, like, from the 2 years ago in the past all the way up until now.
The only difference is he go unga bunga and he go better at it.
I think
Literally.
maybe part of the
Emotional film, but
problem
nothing.
is that there was like essentially a 2-year time skip at some point, right? And we didn't actually get a... So I understand that we don't always get this, but there was such a long time skip, and we didn't get like a character redesign or like something identifiable to simplify the fact that time has passed and he has grown as a person. He looks exactly the same.
The only kind of marker...
And so there's no visible marker, like physically, and then he also doesn't act much different.
There is a subtle visible marker to it, and that if there's any shots where you can see his hands are a lot more calloused, but that's about it.
Yeah, but that's hard to find, and
That's hard to find.
Maybe I'm kind of like analyzing this a little bit too closely to a traditional shonen and the time it would take. But that's just me. I did like Spider Mountain. I did.
I mean, to provide, because I do see what you're saying here. I think I appreciate it for the very opposite reasons, as far as Tanjiro's character. But if I'm to point to like where his actual development here is, this isn't necessarily to develop him. This is to push him forward to new development, because this is the first arc where he and even his partners definitively lost. If they didn't get bailed out, they all would have died.
Yeah.
Even his last triumphant moment in episode 19 turns around and no, the guy's still alive. You're about to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
They really got saved at the last minute. That bleeds into the following arc.
Yeah.
Where they're all kind of like, well, shit, we're not as strong as we thought.
Yeah. Because they actually get to come face to face with real Hashiras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But then I bring up the point that I know that this show is ongoing and it's a shonen, so they were never really gonna lose and die. Like, they might have lost, but they were never gonna die, so it feels like they weren't really high stakes. Just a little bit.
The same could be
But that's
said
the
about a
same
lot
for
of things.
any show.
I know, but that's the point I'm making. Like, they play up the stakes of, like, Zenitsu turning into a spider and Inosuke being, like, basically crippled. But we know that they're not going to stay that way. And in a lot of shonens, at least they acknowledge that the wounds are, like, gonna heal no matter what.
It's less about the physical wounds, because they heal the physical wounds pretty quickly. It's about the mental wounds. You remember they're at the final arc? Inosuke and Zenitsu are like, no, we're just gonna... Oh, I know they're annoying characters, but they're the ones where the change is the most obvious.
Yeah, I will say, Zenitsu and Inosuke had more development in
They're also
Spider-Man.
newer characters.
Yeah, they're newer characters. Zenitsu gets on my nerves.
That's fair. He gets on everyone's nerves. I think you really
Yeah.
have to get far in and really be in the mud to actually like Zenitsu. And even I'm like, Zenitsu, could you shut up sometimes?
Could you shut up? Stop being such a fucking coward all the time?
Yeah, and people kept telling me that I was gonna like Inosuke. That like, Inosuke's great. Inosuke's just your type of character. I really don't like Inosuke.
That is kind of surprising to me, but you know what? To each their own.
I can see why it's surprising, but I think it's just because like, Inosuke is a very two-dimensional character right now. Like, he is extremely two-dimensional. All we know about him, basically, is that he just wants to fight big, strong things.
He's going through his litter box. You don't have to
That's
worry about him.
it. Like, at least Zenitsu has, like, some three-dimensionality with, like, when he goes unconscious and does, like, really cool shit and, like, all his backstory. And I realize that Inosuke is even newer than Zenitsu, like, in terms of time. And we're definitely gonna get more backstory on Inosuke. Mm-hmm. It's just, for now, for such a large arc, to have such a two-dimensional character felt a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like he never learned his lesson throughout the entire arc. Like, he never learned anything. He just got fucking depressed at the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see where you're coming from. I do, however, think part of this is just because you have a lot of shonen that are either done or so long running, you know where a lot of things are going.
Yeah.
Here it's like, well, we don't have all that much at the moment. This is what we have. Whereas if you're rewatching a shonen, you might be able to pass it. Because I have very similar reactions to a lot of characters from shonen that we have watched on the channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, it's a working opinion.
Yeah.
It will change as I go on.
Not that I expect you to fall in love with Zenitsu or Inosuke, by the way.
Well, I mean, okay, I know who my favorite characters are so far, and it's the Hashira from episode 1. Remember him?
Mm.
And then flame-haired jackass.
Sorry.
I fucking love literally, I'm just sitting there watching right there, like, we will commence the trial. He saved a demon. He will die. I will kill him now. Love him. The simplicity.
Wait.
The utter...
Flame hair. Do you mean the guy with the giant orange hair? Or is you talking the...
like blonde to orange with the flames on his cloak, the Hashira?
Yes.
I love him.
Oh, you're gonna love the next arc.
I fucking love him. I also like the dude with the bandana, but mostly because the two of them were just like, I'll cut off his head, and I'll do this, and I'll do... They were just having this whole conversation about how to, violently murder Nezuko.
That's probably my favorite episode of these sets, by the way, when all the Hashiras are in, and they're like... You're seeing, like, this ideological battle between all of them. You could tell just immediately off of what they're arguing and how they're arguing. Like, you can get a hint at what their relationship is with demons.
Yeah, and I like the guy from episode 1. I liked him then, too, because he seems like he has kind of a soft spot, even though he doesn't show it all the time. And then I kind of like how they're like, hey, you're gonna train under, like, a Hashira, and the girl's like, I call dibs! Like, my dude got dibs called on him. A literal human being has called dibs on him. I love it. I will say, like...
I love the part where Shinobu just tells, Giyu, is that his name? Or is it, the water Hashira that Tanjiro knows from episode 1. That one, I love the part. She's like, this is why you have no friends. And you can just see that it kills him on the inside.
I will say, like, I didn't love ending on, like, a short training arc sort of thing, but I love the Hashiras. So the Hashiras have such personality, and for them that works in their favor, because outside of one or two of them, they are not three-dimensional characters yet. We have just met them, but the bit that we've gotten from them is so full of personality and beliefs that we have, like, an immediate reaction to each and every single one of them and their words, because it's just, like, immediate. Like, we immediately establish who's a jackass, who's an asshole, who's, like, a murderous bastard, who's funny, who's a depressive bitch. Like, within 2 seconds. And I love that.
Yeah.
And so does the kitty.
Kitty loves it, too.
There is an animation that was online before it got, like, nuked to copyright hell and back. That's just Tanjiro's episode 19 moment, but every one of them are cats.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really actually liked the introducing the Hashiras like that. I mean, I don't know how you guys felt about it. But...
Oh, no, I said I thought that was the best episode of the bunch.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Cat's getting more attention than the actual episode is right now.
No, you don't.
Alright, reading myself due to technical difficulties thanks to Katie. Basically what we left off on is me and Vorn's general reaction. So my general reaction was, I wish we had more of the Hashiras, and I didn't mind so much of the training arc because this also just kind of leads up to Mugen Train. So that was my general reaction in a nutshell.
This is the reason why you don't work with animals. Also, I really do love the dynamic between the Hashiras. Very nice and fun.
And then I brought up that...
Well, and then I said, so Vorn and I haven't seen Mugen Train or Season 2, but I have heard really good things about the start of Season 2, which is the Entertainment District arc, and good things about the way that their personality of the main characters develops in that arc.
Before that, I did bring up that I kind of wish that if the Mugen Train movie didn't exist, that the last 3 episodes were just cut off and made the first 3 episodes of Season 2. Mm-hmm. But that would have fixed, I think, the pacing of it, the training being at the very end.
I think it might have, yeah, honestly. And then, So I really liked the spider demons, and I'm really upset that we didn't get more of them. So I figure we'll move on to characters a little bit now that we've talked about the arc structure. But so we've got this whole cast. It's like, I call it the Spider Fam, but we've got this whole cast with like older sister, mother, brother, whatever. A lot of spider people, but like different kinds of spider people, The one's got like the fucking tarantula head. That is going to feature in my nightmares for the next decade.
The one that has just a spider body. And
ironically, I actually don't mind that one.
Interesting.
It must be the face that does it for me. I did not mind Mr. Spider Body with like boy head, but I did mind
tarantula head with beefy, muscular fucking I will pummel you into the ground body.
And you know, it's me. It's not the beefy musculature I have the problem with it. It's the tarantula head.
I wonder what part gets to her.
It's the tarantula.
The eyes.
It's
all together.
But it's also the movement. Like when I see spiders like moving toward, like nothing should move like that. See, the guy who has the spider body, he spent most of his time just hanging from a web. Mm-hmm. He wasn't really moving a whole lot. Oh my god, the baby-headed, like, cat-sized spiders will also feature in my nightmares.
I figured that part would fuck you up a little bit.
Oh man, no. And the thing is, I messaged the group and I was like, Demon Slayer has no goddamn right to make me, an arachnophobe, simp over these hot-ass spider demon things. Like, this is unfair.
I will say, having rewatched the arc, knowing their dynamic going into it, it makes some of the scenes work a lot better, and I think it did on the first watch. Because on the first watch, I could totally see how it feels like they don't have their dynamic fleshed out.
It's just a little confusing.
Yeah, and on rewatch, though, you can see how they react to each other, and you get an idea of what their dynamic is. But that's something you can really only get on rewatch because of the confusing way that they put the backstory after they're all dead.
I think Vorn would agree with me when I say that the problem with the first watch through, right, is that we get the characters reacting to one another, but we don't have an emotional reason until they're dead.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Like, maybe if, like, they also investigated afterwards and came to that realization as well, might have helped a bit. But with how they just presented it to us, nothing, work. No payoff. Like, absolutely, just like, I'm not gonna make the sound.
Yeah, it just didn't work. But I did like the spider dynamics. I thought they were really good villains.
Yeah.
So, Tanjiro Zenitsu Inosuke.
Look, okay, Inosuke is the newest character.
Yes.
Right, in the show so far, in terms of watch time. And honestly, he is very, very two-dimensional. Because so far, all we really get from him is that he thinks he's super powerful and he wants to fight people who think they're more powerful. That's really all we get. And then he gets really depressed because he can't win at one point. That's really all we get, to be honest. Like, there might be some other stuff hidden in or hinted at, but it's not shown yet, so we just have this.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Obviously, we're not done.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this
we're not done. Like you said, he's the newest character of this trio.
So I can't hate on him too much for that.
Yeah.
Does anyone disagree?
I mean, I have some things to add, but I don't think I have any, like, major disagreements, like, looking at it. It's mainly just that I don't actually mind his character dynamics with the rest of the cast as much. Because, like, I'll be real here, Zenitsu, not the biggest fan, but I can deal with Inosuke. He's a little demanding at times, and he's a pretty dumb brute as well. Very easy to bait, but I appreciate him. He's a simple boy with simple desires.
That's fair. If you put me in a room with Zenitsu and Inosuke and a gun with one bullet, it would go in Zenitsu's head.
Yeah.
That's fair. Look, I'm kind of like I'm gonna be real here. I'm coming at this from the perspective of having just binged season 2, where they literally write out Zenitsu's what makes Zenitsu so annoying. Whenever any demon comes to me, that shitty aspect of him, they literally write that out immediately, and I'm coming out a fair distance from that.
Yeah.
So I can see why he's the worst.
Yeah, Zenitsu's our second newest character.
Yeah.
And look, they started real strong with having him protect Nezuko at the end of episodes 1 through 14 and, like, maintaining, right? And then that just feels like it's completely destroyed during this arc. Like, any sort of, like, emotional maturity we got from him, or, like, just feels like it was kind of, like, ripped away. And then slightly reestablished, but not to the same extent. And then that whole really cringy bit with, like, him seeing Nezuko and thinking that, like, her and Tanjiro are more than siblings. And then getting all like, Tanjiro, you have a hot girl. No.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. It was awkward. It wasn't even uncomfortable. It was just awkward.
I don't know. I felt that scene just kind of came and it went.
Yeah,
But it lasted for so long. Like, that was a whole episode about them chasing each other, like, because he saw her at night, and then he saw her in the morning, and then they were chasing one another, and then Inosuke woke up, and then there was more chasing.
That was not a full episode.
It felt like a full episode. That was so long.
I mean, he did the same thing with the nurses as well.
Yeah.
Actually, how old are these kids?
They're like 14.
14. And the nurses are probably 10. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Look, I will say, he did man up in his battle against the spider. That was pretty decent. But once again, it feels like a cop-out. Every time they have him man up, they just have him go unconscious and activate that, like, dying will or whatever the fuck he's got going there.
He's got a flash before his life flashed before his eyes.
But it feels like a bit of a cop-out, like, this way we can keep this, like, really stupid, immature character, but still have him kick ass. It just completely, like, separated from the stupidity of what he's been before. And look, if there's a reason for that, great. We don't really have that reason.
We don't have that reason now, as it is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, once again, it could develop, but it has not yet.
Yeah, this is actually one of the problems when I was telling you. I like the joke scenes, but also, I hate the joke scenes. And it's just solely because it comes off at some of the just wrong points in, like, the series of where you should put a joke scene. This is where it should be serious, not where it should be jokus. And then, like, here, joke, totally fine. This is the calm point. Go ahead, fine.
Yeah. I mean, with Tanjiro, it just feels like we didn't really get much new from Tanjiro. I don't know. I like Tanjiro, but I don't love Tanjiro, and I don't know. We got a whole lot of him just being like, Inosuke, no, wait for me. Wait, I can't cut this? What do I do? New breathing technique.
A lot of Tanjiro's development, and this I can see why you don't care for it here, because within the arc here, it's supposed to be him having to deal with Zenitsu and Inosuke. And if you don't like Zenitsu and Inosuke, you're going to find it pretty, like, just move on, please.
Yeah. Also, it feels like he's not dealing with them so much as he's just, like, tolerating their presence most of the time. I don't know. Maybe it changes going forward. I'm sure they work together better going forward, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was not the biggest
Well, they
fan.
didn't work together at all here. They got split up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say I like Tanjiro, but that's just because I find it a breath of fresh air that the protagonist for once is the straight person and not a horrific moron.
That's true. At least he's not an idiot.
yeah.
I prefer
He's
the
fairly
protagonist to be
emotionally
straight.
mature comparatively.
Yeah. He's
And
still a
too
kid.
kind.
He's a kind kid, but he's not like...
But he's a kind kid. He's not fucking...
I mean, after everything they've seen, I would expect someone at least be a little bit more, like, jaded. Or at least cold.
Well, I don't think he has to be jaded is the thing, because one of the things they try to make sure that we see is that each of these demons is human in a way. I mean, they have these flaws and emotional issues, and sure, that's not always communicated perfectly, but I think it's a strength of his character in particular that he's able to recognize this, and then act upon it to try to understand. And this is a very personal thing for him because of Nezuko and his backstory. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, but the problem for me is more like he does this during battle, and I wouldn't mind it after battle as
Well, that's
like
what-
a retrospection. But
Yeah,
during battle,
it's
just,
because we're going through the battle with him. I think that's just in
Yeah.
the way that they're framing it.
Well, and that's kind of the problem, is it is after battle that he starts to, like, once the battle's pretty much over, that's when he looks at them and says, man, you're human too, puts hand on hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point where we and he both were supposed to it's supposed to humanize the demon in both his and our minds. But that's the problem, is that means that the demon doesn't have much of a character beyond, I'm evil, in the battle itself.
Yeah.
So, waifu wars.
Waifu wars. Waifu wars.
Knick-knack.
Hold on.
Wait.
As retrospection to our season 1, I'm going to rephrase this. We don't mess with crazy.
That's true.
And all of them are crazy.
Knick-knack.
All of them.
So I've been going back and forth between two characters. One more joking, one because I actually really appreciate this character's, like, backstory and arc, and the way they tie into other characters. I'll start the joke, but this is not my pick.
Okay.
Because I do feel I want him to be mentioned somewhere, because otherwise he's never going to be mentioned again. Murata. The random demon slayer they save in the forest, who's just like, they're killing all my... I love that guy. I don't know
Okay.
why.
Alright.
Just
And your regular?
my actual pick is Shinobu, the butterfly Hashira. Or is it
Okay.
insect or butterfly? One
Butterfly.
of
Yeah,
the
butterfly.
Yeah, with medicine. I love how I love her particular backstory, because, like, you look at her compared to her sister in the backstory.
Okay, so you're sourcing your waifus from content that Vorn and I haven't
No,
seen.
it was
No,
there was
it
a flashback
was.
in there.
Oh,
it was in the
yeah.
last
brief. Okay, it was brief.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
like
trying
you
to
see
decide.
her and her sister, and
Yeah.
she looks nothing like she does now
Okay.
in the past, but she looks exactly like her sister did before her sister died.
All right. Vorn?
It's either the disciple or the same insect, Hashira.
Okay. Realm?
Honestly, jackass red-haired boy.
Okay, mine's twofold. I actually am doing two waifus. One is the same Hashira from episode 1 that was my fucking waifu last time. Right? And the other one is Flameo, man. Flameo.
This guy, right?
Yes.
Rengoku.
Yeah,
Rengoku.
Rengoku.
Love him.
He is Demon Slayer Johnny Bravo.
Yes! Oh my god, you put it into words. He is the Johnny Bravo of this universe. I love it. I love it. I love him so much. He's hilarious.
And another thing you're going to have to explain to me after recording.
Yeah. All right. We will see you back here for free thoughts.
Yeah. Try harder, everyone.
Like,
Okay.
comment, subscribe.